Welcome, guys. So we will be speaking with Mitesh today. A lot of people have this idea that data analytics, business intelligence, and big data, they are all interrelated fields. They can be used commonly or interchangeably, so to speak. Now, with Mitesh today, we will quickly go through how to go about demystifying what these three fields are or how much they are interrelated. What is the scope of an MBA in this data analytics field, and how you can get into this data analytics, business intelligence, big data sort of thing with an MBA, without an MBA. What are the skills that you need? We'll also speak to him about MBA life. What are the do's and don'ts during an MBA life, not after, before an MBA life. I mean, we will not be doing a preparation sort of thing. Okay. Hi, Mitesh.
Hi Vivek. Hi
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. So Mitesh is a student from BITS. He used to study in BITS Pilani Goa campus. Then he worked with Mu Sigma for a couple of years. He then joined IIM Ranchi, graduated last year, worked with Wipro, and he's recently joined ICICI Lombard.
That's pretty
Okay.
interesting. Yeah.
Okay. So Mitesh, let's start with your journey in IIM Ranchi. So how was IIM Ranchi as such? Because it's a new IIM, not the same as the other IIMs. Also, I have from my past experience teaching students from BITS is that they will say that we already suffered being BITS Goa because it's not BITS Pilani. So I am Ranchi instead of not being the old I am. What exactly? How was your experience?
Okay. So yeah, I mean it is a new IIM. There is no doubt about it. It is different from when you talk about IIMs. You talk about ABC in a single breath, right? So it is definitely not as old or as matured as an institute itself. But I would like to address that just exactly like BITS. When IIM, it's a new IIM. So when you go to a new IIM, you get opportunities to do things there which have not happened before. So that gives you a great sort of advantage that way. But yeah, obviously,
I completely agree with that part. I mean, like a new institute also is finding its own feet in terms of
yes,
trying to create a legacy for itself. And I think Trichy and Ranchi are two IIMs which have done extremely well in a very short span of time, as
yes,
such.
yes.
So
And
if you can
another,
give us a if you can give us a broad overview. I know the first thing that most people will ask for is placements, right?
yes,
When you go for any of the IIMs. Uh, so let's be very clear. I mean, I think there will be an overlap of, correct me if I'm wrong. I have no problems in estimating. I think about 80% of the jobs that you will get in an old IIM will also be available for you. 75 to 80% of the jobs which will be available to an old IIM guy will also be available for an IIM Ranchi guy, right?
yeah, yeah. As a thumb rule, you can say that, but I think it depends a lot on that particular year, that particular. I mean, how the IIM have carried their relationship with the corporates from before. So a lot of those things factor in, and you also have your people work. There is a set of people who are working towards placements in the college, right? There's a placement team. There are faculties involved. So that way, it depends on these factors how well these are performed. But if you look at feedback from companies and what it has been, a lot of the new IIMs also have been at par with the old IIMs in terms of the students who they have hired, their performances, and the response that the IIM has given. Right?
That's definitely there. I think it's only the top 40, 50 people in the old IIMs which actually like get a super solid placements, the international placements, etc. So I think that is probably the only differentiating factor. The mid-level part has roughly equalized across most places, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's for sure. And a lot of the placements that happen in these older IIMs, I think it won't be entirely fair to compare in all aspects with the new IIMs. I think new IIMs if you look at them with the comparison of themselves in the previous year, I think every year, especially I can speak of IIM Ranchi. So it has been getting a good improvement every year, and and as and like you said, the middle part remains constant, remains the same, more or less. Obviously, in older IIMs, you get more opportunities of those international placements and those really big package placements, right? But the new IIMs, it would be fair to say that the new IIMs, you get placements, but it really depends on your profile. Like if your profile, I've seen the companies how they look at it is, if the profile is nearly as good as or as good as a student in an older IIM, I think you will land a very good job as well. And in older IIMs, in the newer IIMs like IIM Ranchi, the placement period is very long, right? So companies keep coming as and when they deem it fit. But in an older IIM, they have a certain amount of higher bargaining power, certain amount of placement season that they can impose those terms and conditions that this particular window will have the recruitment. So the companies go at that time. So that
Yeah, I
way,
mean, which is very curious, because there was a time when older IIMs used to have like a 3-day placements and done.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
they are actually going to a case where they are saying like these cohort-based placements, where you basically don't want to put too much pressure on students to get placed in that particular placement week. So basically, they
yeah, yeah.
they space it out throughout, as such. So if we were to just speak specifically about like segments, like specializations, let's start with marketing. I mean, how different will be a marketing placements versus old IIM placement, sort of?
I I do not have a lot of insight into old IIM placement as such as how it is. You will see in newer IIMs, from what I have seen, B2C roles for marketing especially, they are somewhat less. But if you are in marketing, you get a lot of these like
B2B.
yeah, a lot of B2B companies, a lot of tech companies, a lot of finance companies. Okay, so a lot of financial companies, a lot of these you won't get in, at least in our IIMs, hearing about a big branding job was different. But digital marketing terms, so if we talk about that way, newer IIMs are doing really well from what I've seen. Right,
Okay.
even for companies like Google, even newer startups, they also approach
Pick up.
IIM from a digital marketing perspective, right?
Which
So in,
actually is where the real money is, it seems, by the looks of
yeah,
it.
now, yeah,
Yeah.
nowadays definitely there, because nowadays if you see a lot of marketing, a lot of the way marketing is taught, in fact, that has somewhat, if you look at the courses which have come in, and a lot of case studies and a lot of competitions that happen, a lot of them hover around this digital marketing area itself, rather than the conventional traditional marketing how it was looked at, right?
Okay. Okay.
So there again, you see data analytics, all these things have made digital marketing really, really big, and really, really a niche field where you can actually have to apply a lot of concepts, a lot of things apart from the traditional marketing concepts to do well. So that
Okay.
way, I think that particular exposure was anyway limited when it comes to academics. So students exploring themselves, students learning themselves, that is a big factor why digital marketing, you will see not just old IIM, but new IIMs also doing really well there.
Okay. You specialized in marketing, is it? Or
I don't specialize in a particular area of management actually. So when I was choosing my electives for the second year, I went with a mix of different courses, because my goal was to get into analytics, get into analytics based consulting, right?
which
So
was your background anyways, a 2-year work experience already you
yes,
had.
yes. In fact, my reason for going to IIM was not just to get placements. I think that is a common reason. You can say everybody will have that. But one of the things that I found in my job in Mu Sigma while performing analytics is somewhere that understanding of business areas, certain business concepts were lacking. Okay, and I think doing an MBA for me personally, that has given me a lot more exposure, lot more improved my thought process when it comes to different business functions, why things happen in a certain way, why are things done in certain way. So my approach to my MBA journey was to get a knowledge of different areas: marketing, operations, strategy, economics, finance. Talk about it. I mean, if you look at my course list, you won't find a particular theme over there. I stressed quite a bit upon the quantitative courses a lot. So whenever an opportunity to get those courses came in, I took. But if you want to have a good career in analytics, especially, I think understanding of different functional areas becomes important, because uh, when you're working for a particular project for a client, or when you are consulting in a particular, for example, my job at ICICI Lombard, right? It's a general insurance company. So I have to look. So we have to look at how the operations of the insurance process is working. We have to also have to analyze how the digital marketing campaigns are being responded to by the customers. So we also have to take into the financial aspect of the financial performance of the different products that we have in the market.
Okay.
So if you see in Mu Sigma only, I learned what kind of requirements I had when it came to MBA, right? So that I think becomes very crucial, especially if you're in a newer IIM. So you'll be able to plan your MBA better, and that will reflect when it comes to your placements, when it comes to your understanding of things, and how you speak during those interviews, or how your resume looks during those placement processes. So
Okay,
that
so
way,
that's a what you have given is a very good why MBA answer. Why you should do an MBA? I mean, like this is perhaps the best why MBA answer, and probably in post-mortem, that is like the best why MBA answer that you have actually given to people. Like not placements, what you need to study. Was this your why MBA answer even before that?
yeah, my YMBA answer before that was exactly this, but it wasn't this
So well structured.
multiple. Yeah, it wasn't well structured, and I used to stick to the fact that I somehow feel, suppose if you were to interview me before while joining a B school, if they ask me why do you want to do an MBA, my answer would have been, in Mu Sigma I was doing a lot of business analytics. I used to be involved with a lot of business stakeholders whom I used to have a conversation with, and there I discovered that I used to get very technical, very data oriented over there, and not trying to understand what their business strategy and how they are looking at their business today, right? So that came in, and then I learned, then during the MBA I developed this understanding that you have to uh, get a understanding of different areas. You can't cling on to just one marketing or one operation and do well in a diverse field like analytics, where you might be required to use any sort of concept, but it's about solving the problem, right? So that kind of mindset is somewhat required when it comes to, or you need to develop. It's not just within you. You will find it yourself within you if you work in an analytics field for a while.
Okay. What about the infrastructure, your batchmates, etc., and professors in IIM Ranchi while you were studying? I mean, like usually, if I'm not mistaken, IIM Ranchi has a new campus.
Yeah.
They when it launched, obviously it launched from I think another engineering college or something like that. But now it's gotten a new campus. Uh, just give us a brief overview of like what is the usual batch. The batch size is I think about 120, 180 right now. And
Yeah.
what is the batch diversity? What type of people do you have? Engineers? Obviously you will have engineers, but what is like the gender diversity as such? And what about the professors? I mean, like any particular strength that IIM Ranchi is getting into? Like for example, IIM Calcutta is known for what finance. I mean, IIM Kozhikode, etc., is known for consulting and information technology sort of thing. Indore is again very tech heavy. Uh, Ahmedabad is known for ACADs. I don't know what else. So, what is Ranchi developing its name as?
Lucknow is known for acads. Like they have a very strong emphasis on acads.
That's what everyone
Uh,
says, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. At least
Okay.
the professors do. I don't know about the students. The
Hmm.
professor I've interacted with from over there have a very strong academy.
So, Ranchi is mentored by Lucknow, is it? Was
So
mentored by Lucknow.
Ranchi is on technically mentored by IIM Calcutta,
Mhm.
but that being said, we have visiting faculties from MDI Gurgaon, Lucknow. We have from IIM Kozhikode, IIM Calcutta, obviously. We have people coming in from IIM Bangalore as well. So different. So a lot of these new courses have been introduced, like strategic management of software and technology, right? So that particular information and technology. So that particular course, we had a professor from Bangalore, for example, from IIM Bangalore, and so a lot of these visiting faculties also visit, but there are in-house faculty as well that take classes. So just to start that answer step by step, first talk about the batch, right? So batch size was 180 at my time, but I think now it has increased to 180 when it comes to PGDM, HRM separately 60, or I'm not sure if they have increased this year. Then so you get gender diversity is at par with what you see in other IIMs as well.
Roughly 30-35% women and about
Yeah,
65%.
yeah. That is there. But when it comes to backgrounds, engineering obviously has a higher number, but you get a number of people who have worked in other fields as well, who are not engineers. For example, we had a dentist, I think, in our time who was doing MBA. Then we had people who were working for PSUs before, not through engineering, but through some other discipline, right?
Okay.
So a lot of these diverse group you get, but like you said, like you mentioned, engineering has
Dominates. Engineering
yeah,
dominates. You cannot
dominates
stop
us.
it. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in terms of professors, I would say you would say you guys were not like.
In our batch, we saw a trend of a lot of BCom background also coming in,
Okay.
economics and BCom. So that was also a certain set of students who were there.
Okay.
Okay.
And the professors you have already mentioned about what exactly are there. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, what are the three things which you would tell people like they should look for out of an MBA? Right. I mean, you have just gotten out, you have hit the, the MBA days are fresh in your mind, right?